Welcome to part 3 of our Flutter Notes app series. In this video, we'll be covering the following topics: add validation while creating notes, create, view, and delete notes using Provider. Let's get started and build something awesome. Add validation while creating notes. Validation is a cornerstone of user experience and app reliability. In any application where users provide input, ensuring that the data they enter is valid, meaningful, and formatted correctly is crucial. In the context of a Notes app, this becomes especially important. Without proper validation, users could accidentally create empty notes, insert too short or overly long text, or submit malformed data that negatively affects both the display and storage of their notes. When we talk about validation in Flutter, especially while creating a note, we focus on ensuring that the content meets a certain set of criteria before it's added to the app's data model. One of the main goals of validation is to prevent issues before they occur. For example, imagine if a user hits the save button without typing anything. Without validation, the app might create a blank note. Over time, this could clutter the user's collection with meaningless entries. With proper validation, you can prompt the user to fill in the required fields, enhancing both usability and clarity. There are typically two main types of validation to consider here: required field validation and content validation. Required field validation ensures that the user has entered something before proceeding, while content validation checks whether the input meets certain conditions, such as a minimum length or avoidance of restricted characters. Beyond the technical implementation, it's also important to think about the feedback given to the user during validation. Error messages should be clear, user-friendly, and helpful. Instead of vague alerts like invalid input, a better approach would be something like "Please enter a title for your note," or "Note content must be at least 10 characters long." These messages guide the user, making the app more intuitive and responsive. Validation also reflects on the overall professionalism of the app. A well-validated form shows that you, as the developer, have thought about edge cases and user behavior. This attention to detail improves trust and encourages continued use. From a maintenance point of view, having validation in place reduces the chances of encountering corrupted data, whether in local storage, a database, or when syncing with a cloud service. In addition, validation opens the door to user-centric features. For example, you can disable the Save button until all fields are valid, offering a real-time indication that everything is correctly filled out. You can also give subtle hints, like changing the border color of text fields when validation fails, or displaying inline messages that disappear once the user corrects their mistake. This kind of immediate, visual feedback makes the interaction more fluid and less frustrating. Another important aspect to consider is accessibility. Good validation enhances accessibility by ensuring screen readers can announce errors, form fields can be easily navigated, and users with disabilities receive proper feedback. Validation isn't just about error prevention, it's about making your app inclusive and respectful of different users' needs. Create and remove notes logic using Provider. Provider is one of the most widely recommended state management solutions in Flutter due to its simplicity, reactivity, and integration with the Flutter widget tree. When you're dealing with a feature like creating and removing notes, managing the application state becomes essential. Without a clear and efficient state management solution, you might find your code getting messy, inconsistent, or difficult to scale. Provider addresses all of these concerns by separating your business logic from your UI code and allowing different parts of the app to communicate with each other in a clean, reactive way. When we implement the logic to create a note, we're essentially defining how a new note should be added to the application's data model and then how the change should be reflected across the user interface. The beauty of Provider is that it makes this process reactive. As soon as a note is added, the Provider notifies all widgets that are listening to that piece of data, and the UI updates automatically. There's no need for manual refreshing or complex state tracking. On the flip side, removing a note is equally straightforward but critically important for user experience. Users often want to clean up old notes, remove mistakes, or declutter their thoughts. With Provider, you can easily remove an item from your list of notes, and again, any widgets that depend on that list will update themselves without any additional code. This reactive model ensures that your UI and your data are always in sync. In larger applications, using Provider also helps keep things modular. Your logic for creating and deleting notes can reside in a separate class, often called a Provider class or a notifier. This keeps your widget tree clean and focused purely on building UI, while your Provider class takes care of business logic. This separation of concerns makes your app more scalable and easier to test or debug. Using Provider for this logic also improves performance. Instead of rebuilding your entire screen when a single note is added or removed, Only the widgets that depend on the notes list will rebuild. This efficiency becomes increasingly important as your app grows or as you start dealing with hundreds or thousands of notes. Another important benefit is consistency. Provider ensures that your app's state behaves predictably. If one part of your app modifies the notes list, you can trust that all other parts of your app will reflect that change immediately. This consistency reduces bugs and makes for a more intuitive and enjoyable user experience. View all notes using Provider. Viewing all notes is the most user-facing part of your app's data model and one of the core experiences for users. It's where they get to interact with what they've created, reviewing, reflecting, and possibly editing their notes. By using Provider to manage the state of the notes list, you ensure that the display is always accurate and up to date. Anytime a note is added or removed, the UI updates instantly without any extra effort from the user or the developer. What makes this functionality powerful is its reactivity. Provider allows the UI to listen to changes in the notes list. This means you don't need to worry about how to refresh the screen or manually call set state. Instead, the screen will rebuild the relevant widgets automatically whenever the list of notes changes. This makes for a seamless and smooth user experience. Users don't even realize the complexity happening in the background, they just see an app that responds immediately to their actions. When you design the screen for viewing all notes, you also have the opportunity to present the information in a way that enhances usability. You can sort the notes by date, title, or importance. You might add filters or search functionality. All of these enhancements become much easier to implement and maintain when your underlying state management is solid, which is exactly what Provider offers. Provider also makes testing easier. Because the logic for managing notes is separated from the UI, you can write unit tests for your Provider class without involving any widgets. This helps you catch bugs early and ensures that your app remains reliable as it grows. In the long run, having this kind of state management in place lays the foundation for more advanced features. You might add cloud syncing, user authentication, or multiple node categories in the future. Provider scales easily with your app, letting you continue to use the same principles while adding more complexity. Viewing all notes, then, isn't just about displaying text on the screen, it's about building a responsive, reliable, and flexible user experience that grows with your app. Scaffold Messenger. In Flutter, the Scaffold Messenger widget plays a pivotal role in managing transient UI elements such as snack bars and material banners. Introduced to address limitations in the previous approach of displaying snack bars directly via the scaffold, Scaffold Messenger offers a more robust and flexible mechanism for presenting these temporary messages. Historically, developers used scaffold out of context. Show snack bar to display snack bars. However, this method had constraints, especially when dealing with asynchronous operations or navigating between routes. If the context changed or the associated scaffold was disposed of before the snack bar was displayed, it could lead to runtime errors. The Scaffold Messenger addresses these issues by decoupling the snack bar presentation from the scaffold, allowing for more reliable and context-independent message displays. The Scaffold Messenger works by creating a scope in which all descendant scaffold widgets can register to receive snack bars. This design ensures that snack bars can persist across route transitions and are not tied to a specific scaffold's life cycle. By default, a root scaffold messenger is included in the Material app, but developers can create their own scope scaffold messenger instances to control which scaffolds receive snack bars. One of the significant advantages of using Scaffold Messenger is its ability to manage snack bars across different parts of the application seamlessly. For instance, when navigating from one screen to another, a snack bar initiated in the previous screen can still be displayed in the new context, ensuring consistent user feedback. This behavior is particularly beneficial in applications where user actions trigger asynchronous operations that may complete after a route change. Additionally, Scaffold Messenger provides methods such as show snack bar, hide current snack bar, and remove current snack bar to manage the display of snack bars programmatically. These methods offer developers fine-grained control over the presentation and dismissal of transient messages, enhancing the user experience by providing timely and relevant feedback. In summary, the Scaffold Messenger widget is an essential tool in Flutter for managing transient UI elements like snack bars and material banners. By decoupling these messages from the scaffold and providing a more flexible and reliable mechanism for their display, Scaffold Messenger enhances the robustness and user-friendliness of Flutter applications. Container widget. The container widget in Flutter is often considered the Swiss Army knife of UI building. It's a multifaceted widget that serves as a fundamental building block for many user interfaces. While at first glance, it may appear to be a simple box model that holds content, Its real power lies in the wide range of features it offers, making it a cornerstone in Flutter's layout and design system. At its core, a container is a convenience widget. What that means is that it combines multiple functionalities into a single widget, so you don't have to wrap your content with multiple separate widgets for things like padding, alignment, decoration, constraints, and margin. Instead, the container allows you to handle all of this in one place. It's like a flexible shell or frame that you can use to wrap around other widgets, whether it's text, images, icons, or even other containers. Let's start by understanding its role in layout and composition. One of the first things developers notice when using a container is its ability to control size. This is done using the width and height properties. These allow you to explicitly define how large you want your widget to be, which is essential when creating layouts that require specific dimensions. However, containers don't necessarily need a fixed size. They can also adapt to the child widget inside them or expand to fill available space when used within flex-based widgets like row or column. Another important feature of the container is padding and margin. Padding is the internal space between the container's decoration and its child. It helps create breathing room around the child widget. On the other hand, margin is the external spacing between the container itself and other widgets around it. These two properties are vital in layout design, as they allow developers to control how elements are spaced and aligned, creating clean and visually appealing user interfaces. Next is alignment. The alignment property of a container allows you to position the child within it. For instance, you might want to center the child, align it to the top left, or place it at the bottom right. Flutter provides a variety of built-in alignment options like alignment.center, alignment.top-right, or even custom alignments using alignment X, Y coordinates. This makes it incredibly flexible for dynamic UI design. Then comes decoration, one of the most powerful features of the container. The decoration property allows you to add styling elements such as background colors, borders, rounded corners, shadows, gradients, and even background images. This makes the container an aesthetic powerhouse.